want to comment at all?
No, thank you.
No?
A painful and devastating journey for justice for the victims' families. Crown argued the killer should not be allowed to apply for parole for 50 years.
On September 27, 2017, in the city of Vancouver, Canada, Dianna Mah-Jones and Richard Jones, a couple going about their routine at home, were about to face a nightmare they could never have imagined. What initially seemed like a home invasion and robbery spiraled into a brutal double murder that sent shockwaves through the community. Surprisingly, most of the murder weapons were carelessly left behind, and soon it became clear that the evidence and crucial clues all pointed to one individual, Rambo Wei Nam Kam, a 25-year-old man who had planned the crime meticulously. He also had a clean record, was never involved with the police, and showed no obvious signs that would lead to such an atrocity. Weeks after the tragic incident and a thorough investigation, the main suspect, Rocky, was arrested and brought into the interrogation room. Despite the overwhelming evidence pointing towards Rocky as the perpetrator, the detective is determined to uncover motives and possibly get a confession regarding the killings.
Hey there. How are you?
Good.
I'm Sergeant Leah Terpsma. It's good to meet you. How are you today? I guess you've had better days.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Well, you're Rocky, are you? What should I call you? Is that the name you like?
Rocky.
Yeah, okay, I'll call you that. Call me Leah, of course. I've come in to talk to you about what's going on because I'm sure you're wondering what's happening. And there's a lot happening, of course, in an investigation like this. Pretty often there's a lot of people that we need to talk to. Yeah, make sure you let me know, Rocky, if there's anything you need for your comfort today. So I'm going to get some sandwiches going. So do you have any understanding of why you're here today?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your understanding of the reason you're here today?
They said I'm under arrest for 2 counts of murder.
Yeah, do you know anything about that?
The name of it.
Do you know those people? No, you don't know them. Okay, good. What kind of work do you do?
I have no specific job that I know. At this point, I don't know.
You don't know? You're still searching?
I'm willing to do many things, but, well, not much I can do.
Normally what?
Not much I can do.
How come? Because I think Simon told me that you also had been educated in, was it economics?
Yep.
What kind of job would that give you?
Working bank, kind of things.
Oh,
but,
okay.
well,
The detective begins by asking personal questions that might not directly relate to the case. Rocky introduces himself and explains that he was born in Hong Kong, moved to Alberta, then to Calgary for studies, and eventually settled in Vancouver for work. Rocky's relationship with his family appears average. Although not much is publicly known, theories suggest that Dianna Mah-Jones, one of the victims, resembled his own mother, possibly playing a role in the tragic and brutal act.
So where did you go to school?
you mean university? Calgary?
Was it hard?
No. It's too easy.
Too easy. So you're pretty smart?
No.
So it was easy for you, but you're not smart.
Maybe it's just easy in that university, maybe.
How are you doing? How are you feeling these days?
Right now, not so good.
No. How are you sleeping at night?
Hmm?
How are you sleeping at night?
Good. What? Like what?
Just asking.
Nothing special.
Is anyone gonna miss you?
Hmm?
Is anyone gonna miss you? Do you have a woman on the go or a
No.
partner on the go?
No.
One thing you should know, Rocky, is that I'm not here to hold you.
I'm here to make sure that if you have something to say about this,
whether it's to tell me that you didn't have anything to do with it. I'm here to receive that information from you.
Yeah, but
Whatever
even
it is.
if I tell you that, you wouldn't release me because of that. I want to play video games, but, well, that's not much of a choice here.
No, we don't have a lot of video games, Rocky. That's true.
Rocky's remark about preferring video games during his interrogation might seem lighthearted, but it carries a much deeper meaning. While Rocky graduated college with ease, he wasn't as motivated to find a job. Instead, his true passion was playing video games. He spent as much as 15 hours a day gaming, relying on savings and his parents for financial support. Media outlets blew up his gaming habits, especially his love for relatively violent games like Skyrim, linking them to the double murder. Surprisingly, his gaming addiction, even his so-called gaming conscience, became part of his defense during the trial. It turned this case, and especially the court trial, into a heated debate on violent games possibly causing such killings.
Do you think it's fair?
Fair what?
Well, you just mentioned a few things that you'd rather be doing. Rather be eating.
It's not the matter of fair. It's just I don't have any power. If you need to hold me, I can't refuse.
You're quite right that you don't get to play video games. You don't get to walk out of here, but you do have a lot of power, Rocky.
I'm sensing some not something I would hear. Feel like a trap.
Okay.
The detective alternates between showing empathy and adopting a confrontational approach during the interrogation. This technique aims to induce substantial stress and confusion for the individual being questioned, strategically applying psychological pressure that could potentially lead to the suspect's emotional breakdown and a confession. Furthermore, the strategic positioning of the folder between Rocky and the detective is far from coincidental. This is an added element of stress, since it is likely that the folder holds vital information regarding the case. Feeling the weight of all this, Rocky nervously admits he feels trapped. He finds himself in an anxious state of anticipation, unsure of what lies ahead. He can only speculate about the folder's contents, and he will have to wait for nearly an hour before the evidence concealed within it is finally revealed to him.
The trap, if it's set, it was set by you.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm going to show you some things, and they don't have anything to do with me.
Okay.
And they have everything to do with you.
Right now, Rocky, we have done a thorough investigation about what happened in that house. And you and I both know what happened in that house.
I don't know actually. You haven't told me.
Okay. Well, maybe you don't know this house.
Let me ask.
You're making me nervous.
Why? Do you know this house? Maybe you don't know what happened in that house.
I have nothing to say.
Have you been inside this house?
I don't want to talk about it.
So is that a yes?
I don't want to talk about it.
The sentence, "I don't want to talk about it," is repeated multiple times during the interrogation, leading us to question whether Rocky is deflecting blame or actively avoiding memories of the day of the murder. The crime scene was gruesome, and Rocky had no prior connection to the victims. The motive behind the killings remains unknown, making it one of the most senseless acts of violence. While there might be a sense of shame in admitting to killing without reason, the cold nature of his actions suggests otherwise.
I don't know why this happened, Rocky. I really don't. But I'd sure like to know why. I'm going to tell you something about that guy. That man. He isn't a very nice guy. That man that died. He's not a very nice guy. Did you ever meet him? In the street or at the shopping mall or anything like that? I've heard from lots of people in the neighborhood, because he walked a lot in the neighborhood, and he had a problem with alcohol. And he wasn't a very nice man. He was rude to people at times.
The detective attempts to cast a negative light on the 68-year-old victim, Richard Jones. She's hoping Rocky might agree to some terms, but his unresponsive demeanor makes it feel like talking to a wall. Even if the claims about Richard being a drunk who could be unpleasant to others hold some truth, one can only speculate on what could mentally justify the brutal crime scene where he was stabbed over 100 times.
I don't know, I'm trying to connect the dots. I'm trying to find a reason for this to happen, because it either happened because of something that was going on with you separately, or 1,000 things, like I said, that's happened in the last years that has caused something with you, or maybe it has to do with these people. I've been sitting in this room with lots of different kinds of people, and you seem very polite to me.
No.
You do.
No.
You're okay. You just be yourself. You just be yourself. You're going to be fine. I know this is scary. What?
Not that far. Well, I'm going to lose my patience. I'm kind of sure. It's just, well, I don't know how long can you hold me, but I don't know.
I want you to know something. I want you to get this in your head. We're holding you.
Yeah, I know that. So
and wait till you see what's here, because I want to remind you. I was just talking about September 13th. Do you know where you were on September 13th?
How do I remember?
I can show you how to remember, because I know where you were September 13th. You want to know where you were?
I don't want to talk about it.
You were at the Canadian Tire buying these gloves, and buying this hatchet, and buying this hat, son. I got you on video doing those things. So I don't want you to sit there thinking this is nothing. I don't have to worry about this. You have to worry about this, Rocky.
2 weeks before the murder, Rocky's purchase of multiple items was captured on CCTV. Despite the apparent planning of the crime, his exit from the scene was surprisingly careless. At the crime scene, a collection of items was found, all left behind by Rocky. This included his baseball cap, a knife, and the blood-stained hatchet that had been used to stab Richard and slash Dianna's throat. Interestingly, the hatchet's barcode was left intact, serving as the vital link between the weapon and the recorded CCTV footage. Before the killings, Rocky hid behind a tree, waiting for Dianna to bring the groceries inside. He then forced his way into their home. When Dianna screamed, Rocky tried to silence her, but ended up using the knife and hatchet he had in his backpack to kill the couple. After dragging both bodies to the shower, he drank some milk from their fridge and ate a peach before leaving the scene. The disregard for leaving evidence was later exploited in court to argue that Rocky, who had a gaming addiction, operated under a so-called gaming consciousness during the murder. The claim was that he struggled to differentiate between reality and the virtual world, which could explain his excessive stabbing of Richard because he only stopped once no sign of life was left.
Now I've told you that I know you went shopping on the 13th of September, and that I have your image, your face, buying these things, and I have the receipt to prove that, and I'm going to show you that video so that you can start trusting that what I'm saying is true. What's your position?
Waiting for you to get those videos.
Okay, let me get it.
You're gonna get it anyway.
Yeah, for sure I am. For sure I am. I'm trying to establish some level of trust with you, Rocky. Okay? So I'm going to show you those videos, okay? Hey. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
I know you're not good.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, well, I don't know. Here, fix this for me. Please. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is what I want to show you.
The detective begins to review the CCTV footage, clearly capturing Rocky at a Canadian Tire store. The footage shows him navigating through the store's aisles and eventually purchasing the very hatchet and baseball cap that were later found at the crime scene. He also acquires gloves, although they were not found at the scene. Similar gloves had been purchased during the investigation to account for certain blood marks left behind. Interestingly, the detective positions herself beside Rocky, creating an environment that feels more like a group project than a typical interrogation. While this approach might appear to ease the tension, it's Rocky who finds himself backed into a corner, both physically and mentally. There's no escape from the overwhelming evidence, and this becomes the point at which Rocky can no longer deny the truth.
Do you remember not very long ago, I think maybe just a few days ago, less than a week ago, you were at the grocery store? Remember being at the grocery store and there was a girl there? She had a sore arm. I can see from your face that you're lighting up. You can remember that very well. But that woman with the sore arm, that was a policewoman. What did you do? You did one of these. Remember that? Do you know why you did that for us? You know why we had you do that? What do you think? Well, the reason we had you do that for us, Rocky, was we were looking for your DNA. One of our investigators found the serial number on that hatchet and found out that Canadian Tire is the only place that sells that. And then Canadian Tire pointed out, hey, this is the only sale of that hatchet. We'll show you the video. So they showed us that video of you buying the hatchet, the hat that happens to be the same hat that we found in the house under the kitchen table. And when I saw this scene with some obvious evidence that's obviously going to be full of your DNA, I don't know why it was left there.
I have nothing to say.
I mean, that theory obviously offends you, but I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of what happened there. And without you, I can't really do it. I can only say, I know Rocky's responsible. I know Rocky's going to be charged with murder. That's all I know. Some people do this kind of thing to draw attention because they feel neglected by their parents, they feel neglected by their family, they don't have any friends, they're lonely, and they want some attention. I don't know.
Go out then. Go out. Meet people.
Mom.
Why kill people?
Rocky was often seen as a loner, keeping a small circle of friends. He explained that most of his friends were online, fitting his preference for isolation. His chuckle and comment, "Go out, meet people. Why kill people?" almost sounds like he's talking to himself. This statement is both shocking and sad, suggesting an alternative that could have prevented the tragic killings. Throughout the interrogation, Rocky's laughter is consistent. It shows he's nervous and feels the whole situation is senseless. He understands that he might spend his entire life in prison for the double murder, a crime for which Rocky himself might not even have a rational motive.
What is a good reason? Because there are good reasons to kill people. I mean, it doesn't make them lawful, but there are good reasons to kill people, right? There's war, and there's revenge, and somebody's sleeping with your wife, and somebody insults somebody else on a very serious level. I don't know. Robbery sometimes is why people do it. I mean, those aren't lawful reasons, but they are reasons.
Come on.
No, you come on. What's the reason for this?
I have nothing to say.
After 5 hours of interrogating Rocky, there's a short break, during which the detective takes a different approach to break him. She puts up all the evidence on the wall, going over each piece one more time. She explains how the items left behind match the CCTV footage where Rocky was spotted and how his movements around the victim's car were recorded on camera. She also points out that his DNA is all over the crime scene, and specifically also under Dianna's fingernail during the autopsy. Most of this evidence has already been discussed with Rocky. At this point, both sides understand that this repetition aims to mentally exhaust Rocky and make him realize the undeniable truth, pushing him toward a potential confession.
This is the report from the autopsy where they took the fingernails off Mrs. Mah-Jones. Is there any reasonable explanation for why Mrs. Mah-Jones would have your DNA under her fingernails? It's been a very long time when somebody is faced with something like this, that someone opts to sit coldly and offer no apology, no remorse, no...
If I say, what? You're gonna release me?
This moment perfectly captures Rocky's mindset. He comes across as cold-hearted and egotistical, showing no interest in explaining anything to alleviate the pain for his family or the victim's family. While he's not mistaken that his words won't set him free, his nihilistic outlook suggests that, to him, nothing holds any significance anymore. He sees no point in speaking, as it won't change his fate or his sentence. This is why most of what he has said during the interrogation is that he does not want to talk about it. The reality is that 2 lives were lost without any apparent reason in the most gruesome way imaginable. Even though a few hours earlier his own brother urged him to tell the truth, at this point, nothing matters, because Rocky knows that he will most likely spend most of his life behind bars. It is all over for him.
Don't you understand that after all this conversation, you're not being released? No matter what.
I know.
You've killed 2 people, man. You're not going anywhere. This isn't about being released. This is about helping other people. But you don't care about that. That's all I've been talking about all night, is you helping other people. You've done enough to hurt other people, that's for sure. But you're just sitting there coldly. I don't have anything to say. I don't really give a shit.
You're not me.
No, I certainly am not. Because you know the difference? I have empathy for other people, and I care
No,
about other
you're
people.
not being charged for murder.
I didn't kill anybody either. That's the difference, man. It's such a simple thing to give people, and you won't even give them that. You know, Rocky, I can sit there and I can feel that you are feeling something. I can see that you're emotional. Why aren't you taking this chance to at least express remorse? Maybe today you're not ready to talk about the whole ugly story, but at least say you're sorry. For what? You're an animal.
At the end of the interrogation, Rocky speaks to himself in Cantonese, expressing that all of this appears insane to him. He says that he never killed anyone and questions why he should feel any remorse. It's puzzling how almost 9 hours of continuous interrogation on a single day didn't lead to Rocky confessing or admitting to any involvement, even in the slightest way possible.
Rocky Rambo Wei Nam Kam, now 27, randomly attacked 2 innocent strangers. Dianna Mah-Jones fought for her life as Kam slit her throat. Her husband, Richard Jones, slashed more than 100 times. Crown tried to convince the judge Kam poses a lethal threat to the public.
Well, it's based on the circumstances of the offense, the nature of the crime, and the lack of an explanation for why Mr. Kam committed these murders.
During the trial, Rocky pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Despite his plea, the evidence against him was overwhelming. In his defense, the concept of gaming consciousness was used as an argument. This theory aimed to emphasize Rocky's severe gaming addiction to the extent that he couldn't distinguish between the real world and the gaming world. This narrative linked to the widespread belief that violent video games might contribute to increased aggression and, in extreme cases, lead to actions like those committed by Rocky Rambo. However, the judge dismissed this explanation. Ironically, even Rocky himself appeared perplexed when asked if he felt like he had pushed a button to summon his hatchet before killing the couple. Ultimately, Rocky was sentenced to life in prison for 2 counts of first-degree murder, with a minimum of 25 years before he's eligible for parole. The judge mentioned that there isn't sufficient evidence to prove that Rocky Rambo Wei Nam Kam would pose a danger to the community after 25 years, but also emphasized that parole is not guaranteed. Ultimately, the cause behind such a violent outburst that led to the deaths of Dianna Mah-Jones and Richard Jones remains shrouded in mystery. Both lives were tragically cut short, and no sentence could ever rationalize or justify the horrifying actions they endured.